Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head to Wellington in New Zealand, of course the capital city and the beer hub of New Zealand actually. So for this one we are going to go to Garage Project for my third review, and we've got a really interesting beer today. This one is the Death from Above, and it's described as being an Indochine Pale Ale, and it comes in at 7.5%, rated at 98 overall and within the style on Rate Beer, so it should be pretty damn awesome. Garage Project have a very good reputation. They're a very experimental brewery, and I've enjoyed all the beers that I've reviewed from these guys so far, so I expect big things from this one considering it's rated higher than the other two I've tried so far. So very much looking forward to this beer. This one's brewed with mangoes, lime, Vietnamese mint and also some chili as well, and there's some good American hops in it, so it should be a pretty damn awesome beer. And like I say, these guys are a very experimental brewery, and New Zealand, the craft beer that you get from there really is outstanding. They've got a great craft beer scene on the go, and I'm sure there will be many more breweries starting to export fairly soon. If you haven't tried some Kiwi beers already, you really need to do it. There's some awesome things there, some awesome Kiwi hops as well, so keep an eye on New Zealand when it comes to craft beer. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. It will be very brief, but if you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews I've done from Garage Project. This is the third one that I'm doing for you. There's all the usual social media, so make sure you check that out. If you want to see more beer reviews, do subscribe to the channel, and always, to those of you watching in New Zealand, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other Kiwi beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. I'm always keen to do beers from New Zealand just because of how good they are. The stuff I tried when I was there was really damn awesome. But anyway, to tell you about Garage Project, so the Garage Project Brewery was founded back in 2011 in Wellington by Peter Gillespie, Ian Gillespie and also Josh Russell, and all three actually had worked in other breweries before they founded Garage Project, and they say that when they were founded they were a nano brewery brewing only 50-litre batches, and they say that this allowed them to become very experimental, and they've kind of brought this on. They still are a very experimental brewery these days, brewing a lot of small batch beers to perfect different recipes. So Peter Gillespie is the main brewer at the Garage Project. He was previously an academic before he went to work for breweries in the UK and in Australia, and then he got involved in the Garage Project back in his hometown of Wellington. Josh Russell is actually a well-known beer enthusiast in the city, and he's seen as the idea man, and is apparently like really enthusiastic and passionate about pushing the New Zealand craft beer scene forward abroad, making people more aware of it, of course, and advancing it within New Zealand itself. And Ian Gillespie, it says on the website that he's seen as the glue that holds the trio together. Apparently the brewery was squatting in his garage in the beginning, and he'd previously run and set up different cafes, and really, from what I gather, he seems to be the one that does a lot of the promotion and PR work for the brewery. So he's the one that kind of reaches out to people like System Bolaget here in Sweden and starts to get Kiwi brews over here, which is pretty awesome. So three very passionate guys involved in this brewery, and with the quality of the beer that they produce, you can see why they're doing so well, to be honest. So these guys, like I mentioned, are very prolific. There's about 30, maybe 25 or 30 different beers available. Check out the brewery website and you can see all the different ones that are there. There's a lot of kind of nice ingredients and added to them, as you can tell from the base of this one. I've tried the Hoppy Days and also the Day of the Dead. Both of them were pretty damn awesome beers. So pretty much you can pick a style of beer that you like from these guys, and I can almost guarantee you that you will enjoy it. Make sure you try some of these Garage Project beers. They are damn awesome. But let's actually get on to the tasting of this one itself. So as I mentioned to you at the start of the video, this one is a 7.5% pale ale. They're describing it as an Indochine Pale Ale, and this one is brewed with mango, lime, Vietnamese mint and also some chili, and it's hopped with Amarillo, Centennial and Citra. And it says on the side here, an Indochine Pale Ale inspired by the heat and freshness of Indochine flavours and the high citrus intensity of American hops. Death from Above combines mango, Vietnamese mint, lime and chili with Centennial, Amarillo and Citra hops, and the result is intense, but the name is misleading. This beer of balance is a beer of balance rather than conflict, with bittersweet heat and citrus character. I love the smell of myrcene in the morning, and it tells you a little bit about Garage Project too, which is what I've just kind of read to you with the history notes that I've made. So as I say, this one's rated at 98 overall on Rate Beer, and it should be pretty damn awesome. I think this is one of the highest rated beers that they have actually, and I read about this one that this was produced for one of the great Australasian beer festivals actually. So they say that it was one of their most challenging brews that they've done, so I'm sure when it's rated so highly it certainly paid off for them. So yeah, you can smell the nice oranges off this beer already when you're pouring it out actually. We'll put the rest of it back in the can in a minute. But as you can see, this beer has poured a really nice kind of bright orangey amber. That's a beautiful looking beer actually. You can smell the Amarillo hop coming off this one right away. But you can see a nice kind of bright orange amber. If I hold this up to the light, it's absolutely beautiful. I'm not sure how well you're seeing the colour of this one, but you can see a nice finger and a half of a frothy, creamy coloured head actually, just maybe even a touch of beige in there, a little bit of big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, but quite a few little ones just rushing up towards the bottom of the head. You can see the beer does have a degree of transparency to it, but at the same time there's a little bit of opacity in there. So yeah, nice looking beer, and we'll get the rest of it out and into the glass. Yeah, absolutely beautiful. The smell of this beer, without even examining it too closely, is absolutely beautiful. So let's have a look at this a bit more closely. Yeah, right away you smell, for me, you can smell that nice Amarillo citrusy hop in this one. The mangoes are really present as well. They smell a bit as if they're underneath the kind of Amarillo hop character actually. But yeah, you can definitely smell that in this one. And that's without sugaring up. So when you sugar it up a little bit, you can smell some of the mint coming out. It's quite subtle, but you can smell a little bit of it. Definitely that minty character is in there. There's some caramel sweetness in there as well. Some of the bready character too from the malt base. There's a bit of tropical fruit, maybe a bit of passion fruit there, but like I say, the mangoes for me are really sticking out. You can smell just a little bit of the limey character too, but again, that's very subtle. For me, it's the orange from the Amarillo that's really dominating this malt base, and the beer smells very sweet and very juicy. I was expecting it to have a good bit of kind of floral, aromatic, hoppy character coming off the nose too, but overall, it's, you know, it smells absolutely beautiful. This is a really, really nice smelling beer. Yeah, I'm not really picking up any of the chili right enough, but I'm sure that will come out in the flavour knowing Garage Project. Yeah, take a little bit of time and just enjoy the nose of this beer. This one was kind of recreated. The whole idea was that it was meant to bring out the flavours of an Indochine or a kind of Vietnamese mango mint salad and put it into a beer. As I say, this one was brewed for one of the great Australasian beer festivals. But that's one of the most interesting aromas I've come across. Just make sure you enjoy this before you actually try it. But let's get stuck into this beer now. It should be pretty damn awesome. This one is the Death from Above, an Indochine Pale Ale, they were saying, from Garage Project in New Zealand. Slàinte. That's quite interesting. It's a really unusual blend of flavours, but it's pretty damn good, I have to say. Yeah, the flavours of that beer blend together really well. And I tell you something, you can pick up the chili in the back side of it, but it blends really, really well. The heat from the chili in this one blends really well with these kind of hoppy, bitter characteristics. I can see exactly what they're going for with this one, and they've done it really well. You know, that becomes apparent very quickly with this beer. The 98 rating it has on Rate Beer is fully deserved. This is a really excellent beer. Yeah, that's pretty damn awesome actually. I should let you have a little look at the artwork on this one too. You can see that kind of Vietnamese background there and the monkeys with the soldiers' hats on. There was an older artwork that was on this one actually that had some of the Huey helicopters from the Vietnamese War, and I think this beer is available in the kind of 650ml bomber bottles as well, but the artwork you get from some of these Garage Project beers is very nice too. But yeah, sugar this beer around your palate and just let the whole mouth adjust to it. There's some really interesting things going on in this beer. So the middle of your palate, it's just kind of blanketed with a nice sort of bready character. It's quite bready in the middle of the palate. There's maybe a little bit of caramel sweetness in there, but not too much. I was expecting a bit more considering the aroma. You can smell a little bit of caramel sweetness in there, but the malt base is definitely more bready. And as you move into the aftertaste, you can feel the kind of chili heat coming out of this one. It's maybe, you just feel it sitting there in the middle of the tongue. It's almost just like a little bit of spice. It's not actually a kind of almost burning heat, I guess you would say. But these flavours go together really well. As I say, the heat from this beer blends together very nicely with these kind of bitter, hoppy characters that you expect. Yeah, I mean, the Centennial hop is the perfect choice for this. I always remember this beer, this hop being a very kind of pungent, floral, aromatic character, and you get that around the front corners of the palate. There is a good floral aromaticity to this beer. It's not a big bitter bite that you get from this one. The floral character just sits there on the side of the tongue. It's a bit more prominent on the front corners, but the floral aromaticity is quite smooth on the sides of the palate, and as you come around the front curve of the tongue there, it is maybe a little bit more grassy. The Amarillo and the Citra do have a little bit of that too, but for me, they always tend to be a bit more fruity and juicy, and you're also getting that character from this beer as well. And it's interesting because you can get these, you can detect the mint flavour as well. The mint flavour almost kind of cools the palate a little bit. You can feel it kind of in conflict with the chili as well. You can feel that cooling mint sensation for this beer. It's maybe not good to say it's in conflict. They do complement each other, but you can feel the mint cooling down the chili heat in this beer a little bit. You really get that in the middle of the palate, and you can feel almost that kind of fresh breath thing a little bit from this beer too. But this is really nice. It's complex. I love beers like this that make you think a little bit about what's actually going on. So just behind the front curve of the tongue there, you've got a nice oily bubble, which, as I always say, it's where these fruity characteristics come out. You've got some nice orangey citrus in there, but for me it's actually leaning a bit more towards the tropical side of things. The orangey citrus is very apparent in the aroma, but not as apparent in the flavour for me. There's a bit more of a kind of tropically kind of grapefruit thing in there. The mangoes are less prominent as well than you think they're going to be. Yeah, I mean, you get some of that mango. You can pick up the fact that the mango is added to the beer. As I always say, it's quite, you get when the liquid is still on your palate, you get this really juicy, liquidy feel when it comes to fruit that's added to the beer rather than the flavours being extracted from the hop oils, and you can detect some of that mango character in there. And again, that's another really interesting complement to the flavour. This is the flavours in this beer blend together really nicely, actually. I keep saying it, but you know, you'll see if you try this beer for yourself, you'll see why it's so highly rated. This is really nice. There's a whole host of things going on in here. You can pick up the lime character. For me, the lime comes out a little bit more in the aftertaste. It just kind of, the fruity characters I'm talking about, the orange, maybe a little bit of passion fruit and apricot in here as well. They subside a little bit, and it leaves this almost limey character, this kind of limey flavour on at the front of the palate there, and that heat, that kind of chili-ish heat is just lying there at the back of the tongue in the aftertaste. I mean, this is a really interesting beer. I'm trying my best to describe exactly what's going on in this one for you, but this is one that you really need to try for yourself. And as I always say, beer is a bit subjective, so you might pick up slightly different flavours from me, but I would definitely say this is a very high quality beer, and I wouldn't expect anything less from Garage Project. Yeah, that's nice, and they've got the flavour balance of this one pretty much bang on. I've never heard of mint being added to a beer, but you know, if anyone can do it, these guys are one of the breweries that are capable of doing it, and they've done it really, really well. So yeah, in terms of the mouthfeel of this beer, I would say it's mid-bodied. The carbonation is what you'd expect. It's quite smooth. There's a good oily character to this one. And the mouthfeel is very interesting because you've got that little bit of heat in the middle of the palate, but also the cooling sensation there from the mint, and you've got this bready malt base as well. Around the edges of the palate there's a little bit of dryness at the back, then as you come further forward a bit around the front corners of the palate too, and then there's the juicy fruity character as well. It's probably one of the most interesting mouthfeels you're going to come across, and you can feel a little bit of the chilly heat in the throat. There's maybe just a little bit of boozy kind of alcohol warmth from this beer too, because it's 7.5% for a pale ale. That is pretty high actually. That's probably going more into to IPA territory rather than pale ale territory. Of course, the main difference between these styles is the hop to malt ratio, of course, and they're saying that this one is a pale ale, an Indochine Pale Ale. I'm not sure if this is maybe meant to be a variant of the India Pale Ale, but you know, style doesn't matter. The most important thing is the taste of this beer, and it's pretty damn good. And the most important thing for me as a beer reviewer, it does test your palate, and it is very interesting. This is one that you have to try for yourself. If you like Asian food and these kind of mix of spices and stuff like that, then you will enjoy this one. And I have to admit actually, mint, I do like mint. I enjoy mints, like chocolate mints and things like that, but mint is something that I never particularly enjoyed in food, you know, like with lamb and things. I never got that whole thing about adding mint to lamb. It just, for me, it just doesn't work actually. But the mint flavours in this one are quite interesting, and you know, maybe I need to try and expand my food palette a little bit more on the basis of this beer. This one is definitely interesting, so make sure you try this beer for yourself. This is one of the most kind of unusual ones, I'd say, that I've reviewed for you on the channel. But yeah, as always, I hope you've enjoyed this beer review. Do let me know your own thoughts on it in the comment section below. Always interesting to hear from you guys that are watching the videos. So until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. I hope you're enjoying the beers. To those of you watching in New Zealand, as I say, do let me know your favourite Garage Project beers, and let me know some of the other beers and breweries too. But until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Go and check out my social media, but most importantly, go and try some of the Garage Project beers. This one is pretty damn awesome, and Garage Project are a very, very good experimental brewery. Until the next time, Slanger just now, go and try some of these Garage Project beers in Wellington. Cheers.